on, everybody, and welcome back to Salty Runback, here to be your weekly intake of North American Developmental League of Legends. We are here in the last week, or second to last week, I should say, of the NACL season. It gets a little wonky, but from this day forward, we will have a League of Legends series every single day for the next 9, 10 days. It's going to be crazy. NACL playoffs just ended. We just are recording this after the conclusion of our winners finals. We're going to talk about that and a lot more on this NACL exclusive episode. My name's Grapes. I'm joined alongside Hawk. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're torpedoing Grapes' sleep schedule. I came off of a doubleheader content shoot a half hour ago. We're really, it's a vibes episode for sure, but we're here. We're going to record it. We're going to have a great time. And you say a series every single day, which is mostly true. However, is there anything this Monday?
Does promo start Monday? Or does it start Tuesday?
Well, Monday is September 2nd. Maybe they do start Monday, actually. Yeah,
I
I
think
think
they
they
might
start the
start
2nd.
Monday. Yeah,
So
because
yeah,
it's every day until Saturday, and then Sunday's NACL finals. So
yeah.
it's this weird schedule where
Okay.
we have a lot of different events. We have LCS, we have NACL, we have the qualifiers all happening kind of in a row, like one after the other. Only a couple of days do we actually have that overlap, and it all merges these weeks together. So our release schedule might be a little bit wonky. What we're planning on doing is we're going to have this episode that comes out on Friday. That's going to be previewing the rest of the NACL season until the finals. Then after that, I think on either Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday now, we're going to release another episode that we're also going to be recording today about the promotion tournament. So if you're looking for your promo tournament fix, if you're looking for your qualifiers fix, just hold on for a couple more days. It's on the way. And then we will have one more episode to round out the 2024 season with our grand finals episode for the NACL. We'll probably do some other stuff, whether it's for collegiate or for, of course, that Americas tournament. But that is our schedule moving forward until the conclusion of the NACL. It's kind of a grind never stops kind of week, Hawk. It's every single day. We don't have that kind of weekday break in between.
Yeah, you're right. No, there is League of Legends happening. I mean, this is the best time of the year. Like, I guess from now until the end of next weekend, all League of Legends all the time. It's going to be an amazing time to be an NA fan. And most of it comes out of developmental. Most of it is promotion tournament Grapes, and that is our stomping ground. So I know we're really excited about it. But before we get to the promotion tournament, that's going to be in that half episode next week. Stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned for some potential finals interview content if I'm able to line that one up. But either
Yeah,
way,
you're in LA for
I'm
this
in
one.
LA. I'll be there. If you're coming to NACL finals, say hi, and we'll have a great time.
All right. Well, before we get to the finals, we got a couple more series to get through. So let's start off with our headlines. But maybe even before we start off with our headlines, a big shout out to Massu. This kind of be like our semi-half first headline here. The structure is going to be a little bit all over the place because it's going to be like a kind of headlines only episode. But Massu from FlyQuest, winner of the Rookie of the Year award in the LCS. Very well deserved. Congratulations to him. Going from TBA in summer 2022 to winning Rookie of the Year and going to MSI and Worlds in 2024. Pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's been a great year for Masu. Honestly, I feel like this is mostly a summer split award. I do think he has ramped into the year really impressively. Um, I'm really happy he's gotten it. He's been so close to so many incredible moments on this team. He's been a major carry for them in summer. I think him and Busio have grown so beautifully alongside each other. I know they were the focus of a lot of criticism after MSI, and they've come back in the LCS Summer Split and looked better than they ever had. They now have made Worlds as well, so we'll get to see them play at International once again, see how they've leveled up. I'm really excited for both Masu and Busio, and obviously specifically Masu. It's incredibly deserved winning this award. FlyQuest's talent scouting has been pretty off the charts when it comes to 80 carries specifically over the last couple of years. And I mean, Grapes, I'm going to be honest, neither of us really thought Masu would be that guy, and yet here we are, and it's very well deserved.
When we first saw him play in summer 2022 during the PGCQs, it was we were very confused because this was this rookie, this random guy that kind of came out of solo queue. You know, you see these guys kind of go through OQs all the time. We saw a couple of them in the GSL stage this year. They play their tournament, they play one tournament, maybe they, you know, are an unknown name, and then we maybe don't hear from them ever again, or they become the start of something pretty special. And that is what happened with Massu. And you know, not to, you know, maybe this is retrospective in a way, but when we were getting the chance to when I get the chance to watch Masu in the LCS, and he has some of those pop off moments. I kind of still see the same player that was playing on TBA, was playing on FlyQuest Academy, playing on FlyQuest Challengers. This is a guy who has not had his play style changed in any way, but just had his play and his mechanics kind of grow into that play style of his
Yeah.
as he's gone throughout his career. And I think that is a really really cool thing that speaks to what FlyQuest has done to kind of bring the most out of the player like this, and be kind of just the the showcase of what like development can do for a player like this, and also just how talented Masu really was from the start. So really excited for him. I hope this is proof that
Yeah.
um players coming through these
NA
academy
talent.
systems really can do something sometimes.
When you invest in someone, expect them to pay you back, and Masu's definitely done that. I will also say, Manny Sanchez, if you're out there, I know you think Sniper got snubbed. I think Masu deserves it. So, yeah.
Sniper was all right.
Sniper's all
He
right. He had a
he
better
had a
spring split. He
good
had a
he had
better
a
spring split.
good yeah, good spring split. He had that good playoff series, made some funny memes. He's gonna have a fantastic career as well. But just because this guy came so quick up, especially through an ecosystem that we were part of, thought it was maybe good to get a couple of extra words in.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's get into our headlines. Let's start talking about the actual NACL at hand. Here, starting with a game that actually just happened as we are starting this recording, and that is Dragonsteel defeating FearxStarforge in a 3-1 in the upper bracket finals. Dragonsteel becomes the first team to book their spot to the Americas tournament from the NACL, and also, of course, will be returning to that NACL final stage, the LCS studio. Now, Hawk, we've had a ton of conversations about Dragonsteel so far throughout the course of this split. But they just continue to impress. It's now 11 series in a row. They did drop game number 2 of this series. Shout out to Blaze Olive on the Zeri mid, popping off a little bit there. But my question to you is, when we compare Dragonsteel to their expectations coming into the split, have they already succeeded as an organization for this split, or is that win on a big stage, is that land win, breaking that quote unquote curse that we've placed on them, is that still a necessity for them?
It's interesting because I think the answer to this question is kind of yes and no, like whether or not they've won compared to expectations, right? Whether or not they need to win on land, because on one hand they've made it to Brazil and they've made it to finals, and for I think for any like serious organization, your goal should be to make Brazil, right? Like you want to be that first international tier 2 representative. You want to get to that level. You want to get to land in LA. Like I do think that is the bar for any team, and any team should be really happy to make it there. However, Grapes, I will say in the case of Dragonsteel specifically, have they already won by reaching that bar? Yeah, I would generally say they have. They've done what they need to do with their season. But if they do want to shake this narrative that, I've been peddling, and first of all, I got to say, hey, I said they wouldn't make the land. I've been their haters a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
saying
Oh my
until they
gosh.
until they prove it to me, like I'll bet against them, and they've proved it, right? So I want to give that credit. But now they got to prove it one more time. And I do think like if they get another runner up, I mean, how many in a row would that be across CLOL, across NACL? It would really get painful for such a great program. I mean, even in like lands in CLOL, right? Like not just CLOL championship. Like this team has not, or this program has not won something other than tier 3 tournaments in like years. It has been a long time, and I know they really want it. And like again, I honestly don't think they have something to prove in finals. Really, I mean, we can call them chokers or whatever, but like that doesn't really matter. They've proven what they need to prove with their season. But yeah, if they don't want me to call them chokers on the Salty Runback podcast, then they should win finals. I mean, I don't know. It's just that's my 2 cents.
I agree with a lot of what you just said there. First of all, what's crazy of you to not have them make it to the finals?
Bro, come on. I gotta like
That was
what am I gonna
insane.
do? Like just pick the top team to make the run? Nah,
I mean, I
Supernova
I did.
overdose. Like, come on.
It worked out all right, you know?
All right,
Well,
all
for
right.
at least one of my teams. The other one we don't have to talk about. But um, yeah, I think given their expectations coming in, remember, Hawk, we had Dragonsteel actually seated not that high
Yeah, they were
coming
mid
into this.
mid pack.
They were middle of the pack. I think I had them 4th or 5th
Yeah.
because we were worried about, Niles stepping out, Zamudo stepping in. Zamudo did not have a good
Such
split.
different players.
Yeah.
Such different players. Yeah.
And Zamudo did not have a good split on AoE leading up to the split as well. But of course,
But we knew he was good though. I don't want the narrative to be that we thought Zamudo was not going to be good. Just
there
maybe not like
there were
honestly,
definitely there were definitely question marks.
there were question marks, and I think more so from a leadership perspective, which, like, I will say, again, we were questioning Zamudo, but I don't think it was like, we think this guy sucks. I think it was more like, how good is he going to be when the team is also losing their captain, right? So
Yeah, and
I'm gonna defend myself a little bit on that one.
we
I've always been a Zamudo truther.
yeah, I mean, we thought he was very good mechanically, or I thought
Yes,
he was very good
but a
mechanically,
very
and
different player.
a very great, very interesting way of playing the game. But we were worried about how that could transfer over to this team. I think that
Yes.
is the right way to put it. But he was able to adjust his play style. I think he played 3 tanks in this series, including a
My
Cho'Gath in the
God.
last game against
He's been
FLYC.
a Cho'Gath merchant. He's played it a few times now.
He has. They were talking about it on the broadcast as well. But compared to those expectations, Maryville have already won. To see a collegiate team at this level of challengers going to an international tournament. I think back to I think in 2019 when Maryville went to China and played against some collegiate teams in China. That is kind of the vibes that I'm getting from this team here. Um, Funny enough, Niles is a rookie on that team and now he's coaching them. Pretty crazy stuff. But I
Bring
think
back
that
collegiate worlds.
after all that, if they go 11-0, if they are one of the most dominant teams ever in this league, and then they don't win the final, there will be some conversation about that. And we did talk to Jerry, Cubby talked to Jerry in the post game interview on the stream. I was watching. That's why I felt like I was there.
I was in a
Um,
car.
but he was very much like aware of that situation, and he said, "Yeah, like I don't want to celebrate yet. We know that we need to win on stage, and
Yeah.
that is their mindset coming into this tournament." And I respect them for that, and so I'm going to hold them to that as well. I think they
Yeah.
do need to win if they want to consider this season a success.
Yeah, I'm with you. First of all, shout out Jerry as well. I think he's a player that's always like I think he's always felt like he's had a chip on his shoulder, and he's definitely worn that and played really well. I do on the topic of like Maryville and how we thought they'd be coming in this year as well. I will say, I honestly did not necessarily know if everyone else on the team, like aside from Zamudo, would even keep their level of form, right? Like, did Jerry and Zyko just have the perfect meta? Are Yuuji Spirax still going to run the league? Yeah, they've been doing it. And here's what I'll give them too. I think that if they lose in 5 games in grand finals, or even a 3-1 if it's really close, I don't think it matters too much. They might still get called chokers a little bit. Like they still won't have that title, but I think they can call their season a big success. They don't want to get embarrassed and swept like they did against FlyQuest though. So
Yeah.
that's some of the spice I'll add to it is like it's fine if they lose, kind of. I mean, they want to win. They should win. But they don't want to get destroyed.
Certainly, we're talking about Dragonsteel a lot more, especially in our NACL Finals episode, and maybe a little bit later on in this one. But let's move on to our next headline as we now head down to the gauntlet. There are now, I think, 4 teams that are still alive in this league, and they will be playing each other in succession to try and make it to the finals, try to get that last spot. It'll be Blue Otter versus Supernova. Winner of that plays FlyQuest Challengers, and then the winner of that plays FearxStarforge. Let's start off with our first match, which is happening today as you're watching this, Hawk. Blue Otter versus Supernova. This went Supernova's way in a 2-1 fashion in the first round of the playoffs, but now Blue Otter have had a little magic in them. They've gone on this crazy lower bracket run, just beating DSG in a 5-game series. First of all, we could talk about that series a little bit if you want, but
That was such a banger. Oh my
yeah.
god. I,
But
yeah, go
before
ahead.
before that, let's ask the question. With all that in mind, with the lower bracket run in mind, and the fact that they played against each other closely, Is Blue Water now the favorites against Supernova in this matchup?
So it's an interesting question because also the only other time, like we haven't really seen as much of Supernova in these playoffs. The only games we've seen from them since they played Blue Otter were, quite frankly, getting blasted by what was it, Fear they played. That sounds right. Or did they play Dragonsteel?
I think they played Dragonsteel.
Did they play Dragonsteel? Oh, and Fear played FlyQuest. Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry. Well, either way, they got blasted in 3 games by Dragonsteel and went down the lower bracket. We've not seen them since then. They've been waiting for that like kind of initial gauntlet, right? Blue Otter, we've seen a lot from. We've seen 9 games from them. Their win over Winthrop was kind of a 4-0, if I'm being honest. So, not really many notes on that one. The players knew they fucked up game 2. It happens, right? Winnie, by the way, had the most disgustingly illegal win I've ever seen in my life on the Maokai. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Winnie's my goat. He did not
Down
have a
like
good
200
series,
CS.
and they
That got
won
you.
that second game on. And when he's just like inting on Maokai, I'm like, what?
By the way, going back to the last episode, none of us got bingo.
No, neither of us
And
got
I think
big.
we were like literally exactly tied at 15 squares. So
Or you have one more than me, maybe.
yeah, but I mean,
But let's not fact check
I'm
it, so
not
I don't have
gonna
to.
I'm not gonna give you I'm not gonna make you
Unless
do something
I'm
for
gonna be on
one more
vacation
square.
this next week. If I have to do a TikTok dance in Seattle, like I get my sister to film it, like that's content.
You know, I'll leave it up to you if I'm the one that's actually
We'll have
ahead.
to
I don't
double check
actually
the
remember.
squares. We'll have to double check the squares.
Back to Blue Water though.
We should throw our boards up in post here. But either way, yeah. And then their series against Disguised was fucking insane. Music and Sammykin have so much ice in their veins. It's actually crazy grapes. Like these guys will not be denied, especially I feel like when they're together. Because if I'm being honest, like Rovex, Quacker, Levitate, they had good series. They all had their moments, but in that 5th game, I genuinely believe you can trace it back to one play from Music and one play from Sammykin that won them that game, which was Sammykin finding the bubbles consecutively on Manui and then on Tenacity to kill both of them, with Tenacity's ankles getting turned to dust, by the way, to get them a first Baron that like kept them in the lead. And then it's just Music with the kick through 5 people and stealing the Baron to win them the game. I mean, that was unbelievable levels of clutch from Music. The game was pretty lost and they just won. Yeah, like they are so insanely clutch. All of this is to say, I am not going to call them the favorites because I believe Blue Otter will lose if I do that. But they will not be denied and they will not go quietly. We know that for a fact.
You know, I feel like this is all a setup from all that. Remember that crazy like Twitter beef that happened? That like fake Twitter beef
Oh
between
my
these 2
god,
teams?
I forgot about that.
It's all leading to this moment.
Oh
Like,
shit. Dude, I
and
totally forgot about that.
this series is going 5 games. I'm gonna say it right now.
Mm-hmm,
I don't know who
mm-hmm.
wins. It's going 5.
It's going 5.
Both of these teams play. They play a very fun brand of League of Legends. They are not afraid to whip out, unique champions, whether it's Toasty or Sammykin in the mid lane, Music in the jungle, Quacker playing as Darius and things like that too. I'm very excited for this matchup. And I don't want to curse. I don't want to curse Blue Otter either, because every time that we've said that they're not the favorites, they end up
Yeah,
winning.
exactly.
And
I can't say they're favored.
I don't want to let the magic die here. I mean, it's been so fun watching this team. This is a team where we can say they've already won compared to
Oh,
their
easily.
expectations.
Making playoffs was an achievement. I mean, yeah.
I know that people on the team they keep reiterating their goal is to make it to Brazil. Their goal is to make it to Brazil. Honestly, with the momentum that they have, they beat FlyQuest in the regular season. They played a very close series against Supernova in the playoffs.
It's not
I
impossible.
believe they took a game off of Fear even as well in the regular season. Don't fact check me on that.
They did off
But
Dragonsteel. I'm actually not sure about Fear.
they might have lost to Fear. All that to say, not completely out of the picture at this point, which
Not
in my
impossible.
opinion is entirely a good thing and
Yeah.
a thing to praise them for. I think we both know what answer we do have to this question, but we're not going to say it. Um, best of luck to both of those teams.
You know what?
Um,
All right, fuck it, Grapes. I'll be the bad guy. Brizzy, clip it and ship it. Getting pushed to 5 games by that disguised team is still not very reassuring. I think while Blue Otter is insanely clutch and their magic might carry them over the top, I do think Supernova is the better team and are the favorites.
and clipped.
Toasty's the better rookie mid laner.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to our next headline then, where we
It's
talk
close though.
about the team that'll be awaiting the winner of this series, and that is FlyQuest Challengers. They lost FearxStarforge in the matchup a couple of weeks ago, and they find themselves now in this position here, two best of fives away from both making it to the Brazil tournament and also from having a rematch with Dragonsteel in the NACL Grand Final. Now, team looks a little bit different than it did in spring. What do they have to do in these next two series if they want to make it back to LA?
Dude, they just have to like play better. I mean, honestly, like the problem is FlyQuest last split was hands checking most teams, and when they weren't hands checking, they also had very good fundamentals. But they often don't play a super intricate game plan, right? It's mostly about like just take even numbers fights and then we'll win, right? Make sure our setups are good enough that we can take those even numbers fights. And that's why we've also seen them drop games from time to time, right? It's why Maryville in Spring Split was able to beat them in their series. For example, like early on, not in the finals, obviously, because they had like the good setups, they had the game plans, etc. But this split, FlyQuest isn't really hands checking teams the same way. So the kind of just like play normal League of Legends is not really working. Um, Surdy is honestly unsuccessfully carrying from top lane right now. I feel like his champion pool is pretty good, but you need to be able to draft around it, and I'm not sure how well FlyQuest is doing that. It's also I'm not going to lie, it's a hard question for me to answer because I have not seen any FlyQuest tape in playoffs. I've just not been able to watch it. Um, but I do still feel like their solo lanes are not carrying hard enough. And they're not being able to outplay in all the team fights. I mean, when they get to even footing, even if they're behind, we saw, for example, in their series against Dragonsteel, like these crazy back and forth games. Again, it's like okay fundamentals from FlyQuest. They're getting there. They're still outplaying here and there, but they couldn't quite do it because Fear's also got some damn good players on their team, a lot of veterans, and so that's kind of I feel like it's a lukewarm take, but that is still my take.
I mean, hey, they had some crazy games their last series against
There's
Fear. I mean, one of them was
series.
one of them was like a 5,000 gold throw. One of them
They
they
were all
came back
throws.
from a 5,000 gold lead, and then game three was a little all over the place. Just not as clean from them. I think in general, you can attribute it to Bradley. He did not have a good game three on the way, in their last game against
Yeah,
FearxStarforge.
bit
ABO
of a
kind of
bit of a mid gap,
kind of
unfortunately.
manhandled him there a little bit, unfortunately. But I think it's more than just Bradley. I think that Surdy is not as dominant as he necessarily was in the in the spring split.
My
I
take
don't
on
think that's
Surdy, the way he's
necessarily
playing
fair
right
though.
now, I think Surdy has played well, but he's not for the amount of resources that he demands both in game and in draft, he's not getting enough dividend. It's not that he's not playing well, it's just that it's not quite good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, man. This team is
They're
weird to
weird.
me. It seems like they should function in a very similar way to the team that just smashed everyone and won the NACL, but it just really isn't clicking. And maybe it's like, sophomore slump from Sajid or whatever. I don't think he's actually really been doing anything good, or he's kind of just been all right. He's
He's
kind of
been
been
kind of
there.
fine. I mean, honestly, it's similar to spring. I do think I think a legitimate part of it is Shaden doesn't look as good when he doesn't have the best mid laner in the league, and the team doesn't look as good when they have the best mid laner in the league. Like I think we
Yeah,
underestimated how much better than everyone Quad was.
yeah, definitely. Um, do you think they are gonna have a chance to make it back? I mean,
A chance,
yeah,
yes. I will definitively say though, even though I fucking had FlyQuest like winning the whole thing in my bracket, I will definitively say I think Fear is the better team right now.
They looked honestly pretty solid against Dragonsteel. It was a very close series, even though it was a 3-1.
I think Fear
So
is pretty good. So
I will give
right
them
now,
that.
Fear is my second power rank team, and fairly convincingly as well.
Hey,
So FlyQuest needs to show me something.
they got the playing together buff. The
True.
vibes are good.
Oh my
It
god.
seems all right. Hopefully, don't mental boom after this series. They know they got more to go. And yeah, uh, I think I'd agree with you, but I think it'll be close. Um, all right, let's move on to our next headline. Talk about some of the awards that'll be given out next week at the NACL Grand Finals. One of them, of course, being the Most Valuable Prospect Award. This is one of the first splits where the winner of the MVP is not like immediately either in another league or something like that, or um, Yuuji still here, still playing very, very good. I think we can probably pretty clearly, definitively say, Hawk, he's the favorite to win MVP again.
I mean, everyone I've talked to has said they voted for him. So yeah, I think I voted
Okay,
for him.
well, if it is not Yuji, who is your other pick for most valuable prospect of the NACL?
I'm gonna give a shout to the supports. Um, Zyko and Chime, I think, have both been playing on such a high level throughout, honestly, the entire year, as well as this split. I really do think they do so much for the way that each of their teams plays the game. Um, yeah, I mean that's gonna be my shout. I really think Zyko specifically, like Chime, we have some expectations for, right? I think Zyko in 2024 has had an unbelievable like coming out year as like a top player in North America. Like I really think this guy has been off the beam, and I like to see it. I mean, I like Zyko as a player a lot, and been covering him for a long time.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. His engages have been great. Chime also, just continuing to do that as well. I unfortunately think he's I think stated that this is probably
I
his
think
last
this is
split.
his last ride. Yeah,
So, in terms of the award and thinking about who will win the most LCS games in the next 2 years, probably not going to be him, unfortunately.
I guess
But
you're right.
he's
Well,
done
that's
enough.
also why I didn't like pick like ABO, because like I don't think ABO is like going back to LCS, but he's probably been the best mid laner in the league.
Yeah, I think it's one of the Maryville bot laners. If I had to give it to
Jerry's a good
somebody,
shout too. Yeah,
I think Jerry's also played pretty well. Nobody else really is sticking out to me. It's either that they just kind of had a mess split, or they're a little bit too new, or too experienced. Like somebody like XU, I think also played pretty well this split. But
I think XU could still win it,
I
but
don't know if
yeah,
he's
I
in
wouldn't
the
pick him
conversation.
over someone. Yeah,
I I do think Philip has been in tier two for a while, and I think he had a good split. I don't think he was necessarily a contender for All Pro based on what I've heard, but I thought that he played really well, and so I think that he could be on my list. If it's so hard because it's so hard actually. I don't know if he's
it's
actually.
hard because I really feel like, especially like you have to think about it, right? Like we have not seen very dominant splits from anyone except for Maryville, Dragonsteel, right? Like, and that's why like it makes sense to go to one of their bot laners. Like a Blaze Olive has probably been the best mid laner, but I don't think it makes sense for MVP. Then you have like XU has probably been the second best jungler, kind of, and then like you said, like Philip has maybe been the best top laner, but no one's been that runaway dominant. It's kind of hard to choose not a Dragonsteel player, I feel like.
Yeah, there's not like a guy in my opinion that's like screaming, please, please promote me as much
Yeah.
as maybe it was in spring with Surdy. I still think that like a player like Surdy would do great in the LCS, and I think he deserves that chance, especially with what he's been doing in solo queue and things like that. But um, nobody's really like had that mindset. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe one of my votes goes to Surdy as well, but it's not because of the play that he had specifically in the
He's
summer
just a
split.
valuable prospect.
Yeah, so little weird to think about. I think it's just gonna go to Yuji again.
I think that's part of the
Um,
reason it's going to Yuuji, by the way. Like he is also probably not probably he's the best player in the NACL, but also like I think it's the fact that no one really came up to rival him that it's like, well, we'll give it to him again.
real quick, most improved rookie of the split. You got any thoughts on those?
Rookie of the split is Levitate, no discussion, and most improved. Ah, fuck. Who did I even vote for? I feel like there's a lot of people in the running. Music. is a shout. Um, no names are coming to my mind right now, Grapes. I'm struggling.
I
My
mean,
brain is so fried.
I'm like looking through the rosters. I don't know who I'd pick for most improved.
It's
Um,
tough. Like I feel like there's a lot of people that it could be. I just can't think of any of them.
Rookie of the Split is pretty easily either Samakin or Levitate, but I think Levitate
It's
had better stats and had better
it's
stats and
Levitate for a
KDAs
regular season award for
throughout
sure.
the regular season, and then Samakin has had a better playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Samikin
uh,
is also, I would give him, he's had some higher highs, but also lower lows. Whereas Levitate has honestly been just consistently very good, which I can't really say we expected, but shout out Levitate, man. He's been
my
killing
guy.
it.
Other than that, most improved, I saw Toasty was a finalist on the video that was made on the broadcast. I think that's
I
that
feel
was
like
I think that's okay.
I've
But
not
also
seen enough tape on Supernova for me to like definitively say that he's that much better than he was in spring. But yeah, I mean, he's been
it's
good.
also one of those like, hey, he just like finished his rookie split. Do you really
Right.
need to give him most improved, something like that? Um, maybe it's instinct
Honestly, Instinct
compared to
is a
FlyFam, and then here.
yeah.
I don't know if we're comparing it to CCG. I think he was also pretty good on CCG, but he's
But
much
still
better. I
tier
think he's
3
even better
though,
than
you
that
know? Like, yeah,
on
I
up here.
because also Instinct was what, third team AD carry in tier 3, or did he end up being second? I had him on my third team ballot, at least I can tell you.
Yeah, but I think it was partly also it was partly because we didn't get to see a full split of
We didn't
him,
get to
but
see a full
also
split.
because
But yeah,
Mobility and Shogo played really well. So,
yeah. So yeah, honestly, Instinct is a really good shout for that. I like that.
all right. I agree. I mean, hey, he did play in the LCS, but his last split on FlyFam. I mean, we there's something to say about that.
We'll give it to him.
All right. Another quick headline before we head out. Remember that this is an NACL only episode. We'll have our promotion tournament episode out on Monday morning to preview all of that. But of course, we had Dragonsteel take on FearxStarforge. We also had a little bit of a rivalry on social media. Asmongold tweeting at Brandon Sanderson, putting on a bit of a wager between these two teams, and I think it's pretty cool to see, of course, these companies back these organizations. You also see like NZXT with FlyQuest and the like. If you had an NACL team and you needed a company to sponsor your team, who would it be?
Man. Dude, I'm just trying to think of like who would I want free stuff from? You know, I've seen this question for the last 30 minutes staring me in the face, and I haven't come up with an actual answer. So, Grapes, you go first.
I saw that DSG got like free Chipotle cards or something because they're Chipotle partners.
Wow. I did not
I think
even know that.
that might be my choice. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
mean, I would, dude, if I get like a monthly stipend for like, I get 4 free burritos, I go once a week, like, oh,
Yeah.
that would be horrible for my health, but like, it'd be so good though. Once every, honestly, once a month, I'd be fine with just once a month free Chipotle.
I'm not one of the guys is like I'm not one of the big like Chipotle
I'm
shills.
not like a
I have some
Chipotle
friends
truther.
that
I have
yeah, I
not
have
been
some
to a
friends that are.
Chipotle since I moved to Los Angeles. Actually, well, we went to one in Boise, so that's
We
the
did.
one Chipotle I've been to in 2024.
And that Chipotle was very cheap and honestly very good. I
Dude,
I, I will
it
say.
hit, it did what it needed to do. We were
The
like
post
exhausted, like from casting that finals. We're like, holy shit. All right, what do we do? What do we load up on before we go out? All right, Chipotle.
Hey, never fails, never fails. Um the other obvious option is like a company like Starforge or NZXT just to get like free computers.
Yeah,
Get a
dude,
nice
I want a
gaming
free
PC.
computer. Give me the
Something
like
like that.
the MSI sponsorship, or
Hawk
like,
Gaming, sponsored by MSI.
wow, dude. Would that have like naming rights conflicts? Would MSI be allowed to sponsor a League of Legends team, or
That's a good question.
would they have to rename the midseason invitational?
No, no way.
What if they did
It would
it
just be like a
the MSI presented by MSI?
no. It would be something like they do something
They'd
with
rope
it.
them in.
Yeah, we
Oh,
we called our league the Salt League. They got a sense of Riot's got a sense of humor.
they
Yeah,
do have a sense of humor sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah. I really don't have a good answer for this question otherwise. I don't know, man. Like Netflix, pay for my
The
Netflix
other
subscription. Like
the other option is to get sponsored by McDonald's like Maryville does and have that be like or did I think at some point and then that could just be like a huge meme.
I will say Dude, the way to know you've made it as like a celebrity is when you have like a Happy Meal named after you. Like if all of a sudden I walked into McDonald's and they're like, "All right, we got the uh the Hawk Dollar menu." Like, fuck, dude, that's like ultimate niche micro celebrity like
Yeah.
ascension. So that's a pretty good answer too. Like, oh my god.
Hey,
You go
more
to
partners
Taco
in the
Bell
league, the
and
better.
there's the Hawkito. Like, man, I mean that's a banger, no? I just had taco. I walked in the door and ate Taco Bell for this episode. I think I already said that, so that's why my mind's on it. But
Let's get out of here.
yeah, it was.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Reminder again, a promotion episode coming out on Monday. Make sure to watch all of the NACL action starting this Friday, and then of course, promotion, all the way up until those NACL finals. LCS happening in there sometime as well.
Yeah, a lot of League of Legends coming up. Let us know in the comments what you think goes into a Hawkito. Make sure you follow us on social media at Speedy Grapes, at Hawkcast, and at Salty Runback Pod. If you think that Blue Otter are going to continue their miracle run, you can take what we said with a grain of salt, because it's definitely going to be a banger. It's the best time of the year for North American League of Legends. But we'll be back early next week. See you soon.